defense has progressed through fall camp as you get ready to tee it up next season?
Yeah, it just really does feel like a second-year growth. It's basically when you go through the install. If I were to count just like our day one install, we're going into the 1, 2, 3. This is our fourth time with our day one install, and if you count both springs, both falls, and then we're able to add little wrinkles to that. So you just put all the installs together in our defense, and being able to add little wrinkles here and there. I really feel like our guys are grasping it, and they're ready to put the pads on against somebody else.
Yeah, the depth of talent at all three levels this year is so much better, isn't it?
It really is, and I mean it's not just talent; it's the want to, and it's the just the experience too. I mean, I know that a lot of these guys, this is their first time, putting on a Sun Devil uniform, but we got a lot of guys that got a lot of playing experience. So it's not going to be the bright lights, for the first time for these guys. So, our goal is just to keep these guys comfortable, playing fast, and doing what they know how to do.
How do you feel about the corners? Obviously, not as much experience there as other places.
We got two guys that are really, really savvy and high IQ players that have played different positions, that are incredibly good cover guys. And then we have, a third guy who's very experienced, you know what I'm saying? So then we have really talented fourth and fifth guys. So, you're right. The two guys that we do have starting, Keith and Javin, along with LT, all those guys have played a lot of football before, but they maybe haven't started. And Keith played for us last year. Javin's played at Washington State. He was a third corner for them up there last year, and the two guys that he was behind are both in the NFL. One was a third-round pick, and another guy was, I think still in camp right now fighting to make a spot. So, we feel really good about that position right now and the growth, and the competition has really drive the performance in that room as well. So, excited to see what those guys are going to do.
So with all the shifting you had at nickel, just talk about how Shamari is playing there, and Kamari Wilson right now is a starter.
Yeah, he's running with the ones, but really that position, there's a lot of competition right there with Miles Rouser. Zavin Alford's played the strong and the free. Shamari's played the free and the nickel, but they all have like interchangeable ability. So really trying to develop our package so we can put those guys in the right position in terms of matchups and how we're gonna use those guys from week to week is going to vary.
I wanted to go back to Javin. What's been the biggest growth in him? Obviously, he didn't get a ton of playing time, and like you said, he was behind two good guys.
Yeah.
His growth from in a year.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him when he was a true freshman, when I was, when we were up north together, and just seeing his development. We always knew the talent was there, and he can obviously run like the wind. But he really is. He has a high football IQ, and he's really hungry for this moment right now. So I'm really excited to see what kind of year he has, and it starts next Saturday.
Keinan Elliott may be the best athlete on the team. Talk about what he brings to your defense.
Yeah, he just brings consistency and leadership. He has a lot of intensity. Every day he really brings the fact that he's ready to go. He doesn't have any off days. He's his own worst critic. I mean, he's very self-aware about what his strengths and maybe what his non-strengths are. I'm not going to call them weaknesses, but so he's very self-aware, and his growth just in our defensive system. I just think he's going to be incredibly productive this year, and he's really what you're looking for in terms of a guy who really leads by example and also leads by by what he says and how he carries himself on and off the field.
What do you expect to see from Wyoming next week? 9-win team, strong running game a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of ties to that program. We're only really, they're only, small degrees apart in the coaching profession, but I know a lot of guys on that staff, and I know what that culture is and that philosophy. Those guys are going to come ready to play, so we better be ready to play because they're not coming in here expecting to lose. They're coming in here expecting to win. So we just got to be ready. We got to be fundamentally sound, and we got to be sound in how we align and execute against these guys.
You get the sense that they're a physical team. You have to be ready for that.
That's what they live. That's what they live by, and it starts with them in the off season. Again, we have guys on our staff here that were part of that program. So, they know, and we're making our guys aware of, these guys are going to come ready to play, and they're not going to be in awe of us at all. So we need to be ready to go.
With having more talent this year on the team, do you feel like the playbook can get more complex, so to speak, more creative than it was last year?
I don't know. I think we're pretty creative, on defense, and we find ways to break our own tendencies. So, we really want to do what we do, and obviously add little wrinkles and try to be in the right calls in specific situations, and that's really up to me and the coaching staff. But our goal is to make it as simple as possible, so our guys can use that ability without their minds slowing their feet down.
And the helmet communication, how do you feel that process has gone? I know you're not going to know until game day how it really works, but so far.
It's a work in progress. It's kind of exciting. It gives you. It gives the ability to talk to your players and make them aware of situations and what to look for. So, I think there's some advantages, the disadvantages, and we will see. It's going to be week to week, and this first year is going to be there's going to be a lot of growth, and there's going to be probably a lot of regret too. So, we're just going to try to use that to advantage, and if we can.
From the start of camp to now, can you just talk about the camaraderie to help the group and how they've been playing?
Yeah, football is I've always said it. It's one of the reasons I love the sport. I wasn't a great player by any means, but when I think about the football teams that I was a part of, it was all about the camaraderie and the brotherhood and the friendship, and about those ties and those bonds that you make being a part of a group and going through hard times together. So it's fun to see our growth as a football team. Combination of the off season, the summer, fall camp, Camp Town-Azona, and now leading up to this game week. It's really people's true colors really come out once the season sets hold, and I'm excited to see this group continue to move again with that second year jump in mind.